Okay, ladies and gentlemen, a good morning to our distinguished participants from Europe and a good afternoon to all our guests in Vietnam and in the entire Southeast Asian region. A warm welcome to all of you to today's Practitioner Workshop number 4, Europe's new accession states experience and technology partnership. My name is Florian Beranek, and I'm from Austria, living here in Vietnam. Today, I'm your host in my role of a member of the Executive Board of the Central and Eastern European Chamber of Commerce, CEC, in Vietnam. In my professional life, I'm a principal expert for responsible business development at the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, UNIDO, and I'm based in Hanoi for more than a decade. So I call myself quite experienced in the Southeast Asian region. Our workshop is part of the regional and local events in course of the Europe Industry Week 2021. These 2 days of full valuable information, hands-on experience and knowledge sharing run under the title Cooperating with Europe for Green Manufacturing Technologies. And they are part of the EU-ASEAN dialogue on green technology innovation mapping. You probably read about this. This program is supported by the Enhanced Regional EU-ASEAN Dialogue Instrument, the well-known E-READY program, in its close cooperation with the ASEAN Secretariat in Jakarta. So it's a real regional initiative. For this afternoon, we are pleased to welcome on the online stage 3 main speakers who will share both their research findings, but also their practical experiences. It's my pleasure to welcome Dr. Annamaria Inzelt, a highly recognized researcher, Mr. Tamás Varga, the co-founder of Palota from Hungary in environmental services, and Mr. Zoltan Nagy, the sales manager of 3B machine manufacturer, also from Hungary. In addition to these 3 experts, we will discuss also with Mr. Balasz Morvai, an experienced research and environmental technology development advisor from Hungary, and finally also with Mr. Bruno Omri from the Slovakian embassy here in Hanoi. He is the deputy head and trade counselor. Bruno, in fact, is joining me here today. So welcome, Bruno, to having you here with me today. And let's see how much of interaction we are able to deliver and how much of your experience we can bring to our audience here today. A bit of the rationale behind today's session. Green technologies are a key to sustainable new product services and manufacturing processes. They are also essential for reaching the overall goal of this word we hear so often, green growth. Green technologies today combine the opportunity to push economic growth and socioeconomic development while contributing at the same time to achieve the so often quoted Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs. For the manufacturing sector of Vietnam and of other ASEAN member states, green technologies are of particular importance. They are the basis for the best possible use of natural resources and energy and the protection of health and well-being of workers and consumers at the same time. Green technologies contribute to the reduction of CO2 and other greenhouse gases and emissions, while at the same time also creating new sustainable employment and economic growth. We all hear about the green jobs, the green revolution, and finally, it should benefit not only big industries, but also SMEs, communities, economy, and the society as a whole. For all those reasons, it's important to make such green technologies available and embed them into ambitious development strategies alongside the SDGs. So this is a key element of our work and of the European agenda. The objective of these EU Industry Days local events like today is to amplify the awareness of the importance of sustainable technologies, but also to promote the EU-ASEAN technology cooperation and the transfer of technologies, and to create a platform for dialogues on technology markets, on innovators, where state-of-the-art future perspectives of sustainable manufacturing and its key elements are discussed, what we're going to do today. Where new technologies and solutions are presented. And finally, where technology suppliers and users can meet to lay the grounds for future collaboration. This is actually what we are here for today. Meeting for a sustainable future and for long-lasting business partnerships. Before we get started, I would like to invite you to use during today's session the chat function in your Zoom client to share your comments and to share questions with us. To make it a little bit easier for us to screen through the chat box, please start any questions with a capital Q at the very beginning of your entry. Thank you very much. We will do our best to reply timely. Our first speaker of today will take us to the systematic research why know-how transfer matters for upgrading innovation performance. Let's welcome Dr. Annamaria Inzelt, an expert in university industry government relationships in less advanced countries. She is a founding director of IQU Innovation Research Center in 1991. Dr. Inzelt is also an honorary professor at the University of Szeged, and she is holding a Doctor of Science degree of on the Hungarian Academy of Science. She also was the first Hungarian representative in the well-known OECD working group of NESTI. NESTI stands for the National Experts on Science and Technology Indicators. During that period, she was also involved in OECD collaborations with transition economies, with emerging economies from different regions, like here in ASEAN, African, Latin American countries. Dr. Inzelt also has been a scientific advisor to various EU research projects and is a member of several international committees and editorial advisories. She has worked for UNSC, conducted innovation reviews, and she is regularly still publishing her amazing scientific results. So I'm very happy to have her here today and would like to invite Dr. Inzelt now to share with us her insights and the latest research, and we are happy to listen to you. Thank you very much for the introduction, for listening to me. Ms. Inzelt, it's your stage. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Florian. I just like to share my, yes, I hope all of you can see my slides. I will speak about the role of knowledge transfer in upgrading innovation performance. I'd like to share with you several experiences from Hungary and some other post-socialist economies. The hypothesis is that the combination of outside and inside knowledge and technology can contribute to sustainable development and advancement of economies. The better embeddedness into international network via transfer of knowledge is upgrading the capabilities, the competitiveness, and the well-being of the nations. Let me show where is Hungary. It's a Central European country. It's very small. You can see by the arrow. At the beginning of transition, it was very important to re-specialize the Hungarian economy. The early post-socialist period, Hungary moved away from inherited sectoral structure towards high-growth sectors, knowledge-based sectors in both manufacturing and services. Since the beginning of this century, Hungary is making attempts to respond to Industry 4.0 challenges and to approach sustainable development targets. Foreign actors were active in this specialization process and have been playing important role in disseminating and employing new knowledge products. The topic of this conference, green tech industry specialization, is a good choice for any countries and represents demand-led innovations, supports towards sustainable development goals. My country fellows will go into the details of their business in this field. Transferring knowledge means to upgrade innovations by actors. Two kinds of transfer we can distinguish among first, I mean business to business knowledge transfer, and between firms and scientific actors. I call higher education institutes and public research organizations together scientific actors. And this transfer in both fields may happen on national or on international level. There are some facts that are facilitating the knowledge transfer in Hungary. Hungary is a host country of many foreign companies, including multinational companies, and it's a good source, and these companies are good sources for technology transfer. In Hungary, 70% of business expenditure for R&D, it comes from these companies. And at the same time, Hungary has remarkable knowledge generating capacities at the universities and public research organizations. These are together offering good opportunities for business science collaborations. Oh. I try to move back. If we look the business to business transferring knowledge by the international dimension, globalization of value chains has been sizing up international interactions and networking. More and more economies and firms are participating in global value chains. In Hungary, foreign partners are being channels of knowledge and technology flows. I mean the patents, know-how, machines, equipment, and software to innovations. And these foreign partners are involving Hungarian firms into international networks and at the same time providing good opportunities for learning new capabilities and new methods and involving the foreign controlled companies with additional transfer. For example, in car manufacturing industries, the companies were followed by first, second, and third tier suppliers companies. They also brought in new technology in the country. Sorry. It is important the business can lead the mobility of highly skilled workers, and this means the inflow of tacit knowledge on the company. The machines or technology bring in so-called codified knowledge, and this highly skilled workers means brain gain for the country. At the beginning of transition, the posted migrants were a chief executive officer, financial and marketing manager, and it was important to fill the gap of knowledge. And these managers supported the smooth collaboration process and supported the technology transfer. They trained the locals for new jobs, and of course they controlled the acquired firms tightly. And a few years later, these foreign managers were replaced by Hungarians because the learning process was successful. In a decade later, other type of professionals were also posted by business to Hungary, development engineers and designers. And very soon Hungarians became a part of mobile circulation. Not only foreign engineers and designers came into Hungary, but Hungarians went to the other locations of the company. And well, before entering technology transfer collaboration, it has to keep in mind the different characters of innovation. By the modes, the innovation can be research and development based, or doing mode, doing using interacting type innovation that relying on informal process of learning or experiences. By the level of novelty, the innovation can be breakthrough or incremental or adaptation-based. The degree of novelty can be word novelty or new to the country, either Hungary or Vietnam or Philippines, new to the sector or firm. You can see here a green line, doing mode innovation. If we employ doing mode innovation, we may result only incremental or adaptation-based innovation. Of course, they are very important, and the novelty can be new to the country or firm. Now, it's another important issue, which kind of technology transfer come into the country. The technology transfer is always advanced than existing technology in the recipient country or firm, but they may have different degree. They may be state-of-the-art technology or advanced but not cutting edge, mature technology, and still workable with limited additional knowledge. It is also important because it can create new jobs and learning opportunities, but this technology will be outmoded very soon. The selection by degrees of technology transfer depends on both deliberation of recipient country and the delivering country. In the recipient country has to investigate the knowledge absorption capabilities, knowledge dissemination and management capabilities, and of course the innovation system is also important influencing factors. And delivering country will choose by its different business targets and how trust in recipient countries. If they can be sure the recipient country will manage the intellectual property rights, for example, properly, they are much more ready to invest more advanced technologies. Let me give another example. We investigated the Hungarian SMEs, how they see the advantages of international collaborations in the field of knowledge and information. And the red color represents the innovative firms and green color the non-innovative firms. And there are three factors that are much more important for innovative than non-innovative firms: enlarging the capacity of research and development employees, or speed up the research, development and innovation processes, with access to up-to-date infrastructure, and the most important was acquiring new knowledge. Now I moved to other kind of technology transfer between firms and domestic scientific actors. This was the last international relationship following the trade and joint production that followed the research and development activities. If the business contract companies contract the scientific organization for targeted research and development, it means they are financing the research and development activities at the university, but they design the issues. Or firms may purchasing R&D findings that are on the shelf of the scientific organization, may either before patenting or license or after patenting the licenses. The contracted R&D episodes are much more important for scientific organization than business which are financing. I don't go into the detail. Mutual education activities are also important. Train the employees for introducing innovations or introducing new subject, new teaching curricula, or upgrade their contents. Hungary is a very famous case. One of the car manufacturing companies, Audi, has established a faculty at one of the good Hungarian university. In Tajikistan and Armenia, we have seen many foreign companies that introduce new subjects at the universities, mainly in information communication technologies. The co-education between business and science organizations are also important. Now it's a delicate question if the foreign business has a contract with the domestic science organization. What is the impact of R&D results or innovation activities? If the contractor is the local subsidiary, majority of research and development activities will improve the innovative performance at the subsidiaries and of course in the country. But some findings not feeding the innovation in Hungary, but in other locations of multinational companies where the knowledge absorption capabilities or production capabilities are better or production is cheaper. This is a criticism of the Hungarian firms. There are some important contracts that are not feeding innovation in Hungary. The contractor can be the headquarter or a node company, but they are contracting not for a local subsidiary. It means the multinational company just broaden its knowledge base, accepted the university capabilities. And other rarely case, multinational companies without any local activities are making R&D contracts of universities. This means they accept the excellency of Hungarian universities. Let me mention some lessons from Hungarian experiences that I think might be useful to ASEAN countries. Linkages with foreign companies can contribute to overcome on technology-related managerial problems, can involve local firms in adaptation-based innovations, and can assist potentially innovative firms. Adaptation-based innovation capabilities are crucial. They may facilitate the increased transfer of modern technology, marketing, and organizational techniques. It's worth to invest in adaptation capabilities. Now, for exploiting better the potential advantages, the business science collaboration, we have to upgrade the level of internationalization of higher education institutes and make the universities more attractive to companies. I would like to raise another issue. Pandemic brought into the light the advantages and disadvantages of globalization. According to my opinion and some other experts' opinion, collaborations of technology transfer will remain important. However, the content of global value chain may change. And pandemic has strengthened the importance of sustainable development. And I like to emphasize learning for other countries is always beneficial. However, there is no one fit model for all. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Okay, Annamaria, thank you very much. I'm not sure. It seems we have a little bit connection bandwidth problem, so I might switch over to our backup. Probably this is now helping a little bit, working better. So you see us now in real life here, sitting. So Annamaria, thank you very much. Allow me just quickly to raise one question. Where do you see the European companies here in Southeast Asia? You were working here, you have a lot of experience. Where do you see them in this highly disputed, highly competitive area of Southeast Asia? Not only Vietnam, the entire region.
Japan is very competitive, and if I know where there are important technology transfer between Japan and Vietnam, when I was in Hanoi a couple of years ago, I visited with the Japanese colleague together some Japanese factories. And according to my experiences, the technology was not very well advanced. Of course, they were very important technology, and then they produced a lot for the Vietnam. But I think it is important to upgrade the technology.
Okay, thank you very much so far. I would like just also to ask Bruno quickly here, after listening to Annamaria's expertise, what is your uptake on the region here?
Yeah, well, I would like to thank Dr. Inzelt for her insight, because most of the ideas that she presented are very much concerning also my country. Where the transfer of technology has benefited not only the production and the sophistication of the country, but also helped a lot in the environmental area. And it further helped to develop environmental technologies that could be implemented here in Vietnam or particularly in Southeast Asia region. So I definitely see the largest potential for countries or the companies from countries of Central and Eastern Europe to be very active and implement their technologies here in Southeast Asia, because we share to a large extent the same experience, and that could be definitely implied here. So yeah, that's where I would see the common ground.
So we see opportunities here. So Bruno is seeing, Annamaria is definitely also having and sharing these things. And so it's actually a great opportunity now to hear from one of those companies which are famous for the technology, for the innovative spirit. So our next contributor is 3B from Hungary. and they will introduce the practical side of innovation, of technology transfer and business sustainability. Mr. Zoltan Nagy, the sales manager of 3B Hungary, the Hungarian environmental services machinery manufacturing company, is in the meanwhile 29 years old, so soon 30 years, 3 decades, and they maintain offices in 4 countries. With over 20 years of experience, Mr. Nagy is responsible for all worldwide sales, service, and support activities of the company in all markets and countries. He has managed a lot of projects worldwide and also leads the 3B marketing and design strategy. Just in short words, 3B is producing machinery for recycling of different material stream, from plastics to construction waste to normal urban household waste, up to more complex materials. And we are now looking forward to hear your uptake, your experience, and also what you have to share and what you see hopefully successful cooperation in Vietnam, but also in the region, will bring for 3B. Please, Mr. Nagy. There is Mr. Nagy. Zoltan. Okay.
Yeah, Florian, while you get Mr. Zoltan Nagy online, how about we elaborate a little bit on the concrete points where the experience of Central European countries could be implemented most in the region of Southeast Asia, because I have been dealing with green technologies and their transfer since I've come to Vietnam, which was almost 3 years ago. I have been involved with similar topics in China during my posting there, and it always melts down to 5 essential groups to me, where because of the transfer of economy and also the technologies that we have experienced back in the 90s, and well, now still continuing to do so, mainly thanks to the FDIs, but also thanks to the increased investment into R&D in green technologies. And first of all, that would be, from my perspective, energy efficiency. This is a hugely untapped area in Southeast Asia, when we are not talking just about the reconstruction of the grids, but basically the consumption of energy, which really presents enormous potential, and a lot of technologies from CEE countries, so to speak, are dealing with increasing the energy efficiency. That, of course, leads to generation of electricity or of basic power from renewable resources. And needless to say, this is very closely interlinked with waste to energy. This, I believe, has been one of the top 5 topics, at least in Slovakia. And that is building more ecological incinerators and using the waste which we all produce, be it the industrial waste, be it domestic or the communal waste, as it is called in our part of the world, into producing energy, instead of rather dumping it in the oceans or dumping it in nature and so on. Where again, I believe that all of the countries where we come from, or from our Central European region, have tremendous experience with using waste as a source of energy. And just with the sheer numbers, I do not want to talk about Vietnam in particular, but waste is a huge problem.
Okay,
it's a huge problem. Yeah. So now. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Now.
Okay. So I would say that until we get 3B finally here in in our speaker slot, Bruno was mentioning energy, waste, and so on. So it always comes into my mind then waste to energy, but also what else you can do out of plastic waste, what you can produce finally, other than just incinerate it. There are technologies, it's chemical recycling, it's e-fuels, is making other kind of energy out of waste. And one of the companies with a vast experience in whatever kind of innovation when it comes to face environmental problems is Palota. Palota finally stands for a great example of how research, development, and innovation can be combined into a successful business. So we are happy today to have Mr. Tamás Varga, one of the founders of Palota, and today one of the managing directors of Palota Environmental Service Company with us here. Palota is running a successful business for more than 30 years. And Mr. Varga himself, a PhD in chemical engineering from the Technical University of Budapest. He took an active part in technology development and international cooperation of the company for many, many years. Tamás focuses mainly on the reuse and recycling on both the technical and the business solutions. So finding how technology can turn into business success, how you can make finally money, but also preserving and protecting the environment. And I hope now our connection is working nicely and we can get, here I see the two already sitting. So it's Tamás Varga, accompanied by Balasz Morvai. So I'm happy to have you. And we are looking forward to hearing from one of the experts. And I know you also worked some time ago for my employer, for UNIDO, successfully. Maybe we can get something on the way in Vietnam as well. The stage is yours, please.
Thank you for the invitation for this meeting. I'm Balasz Morvai, the RTD manager and project manager of the company, and here it is Dr. Tamás Varga. He's the managing director of Palota company. As discussed in the introduction, this company works with industrial wastes, different types, for more than 30 years. And in our short presentation, we would like to show you our technology offers, which we can be used in technological processes in different areas, and can be applied for reduce the waste, eliminate the contaminants, and reuse these waste materials in the industry again. Okay, I show our presentation. I share our presentation.
You share the screen, yeah, please.
Okay, I hope it works. You see us? So some words about the company. We have offices and units in Hungary and in Romania. The founders of the company group are Hungarians, and we've got at the moment larger activity in Romania, as it is a bigger market than in Hungary. You can see here the numbers. The activity focus of the company is, as I mentioned, different type of industrial wastes, wastewaters, sewage sludges, contaminated air, contaminated soil, contaminated groundwater. Even another activity is the medical waste. Is not so industrial, but in today's life with the COVID, it's getting more and more important to deal with them. So we can clean the different effluents, industrial effluents and outputs, and support the green technologies and green production. Our main partners in Hungary are the Hungarian oil and gas company, pharmaceutical companies, Suzuki car production company, the nuclear power station, and abroad in Romania, mainly petrol companies, but even also different industrial companies. And we have some experience far abroad, especially in Kuwait and Saudi Arabia, where we were working with the local oil companies, cleaning oil contaminated water and oil contaminated sludge. So this is our key client areas when we can work. We had advisory activity in different countries, mostly in Africa and in Southeast Asia also. Latest, we have been to South Sudan to survey an oily water contaminated area and to evaluate the possibilities for cleaning it up. So what would be our focus for today? I would tell you some words about our sterilizer equipment for medical wastes that disinfect the hospital wastes and can be then reused as can be disposed as communal waste. And another technology, what is more important for industry, is the recycling systems we have, recycling technologies to reuse polluted organic solvents and waste pyrolysis oil. They can be integrated into the technology process or at the end of the technology process and implemented at the production sites, and can be the cleaned wastes can be reused in technology or can be sold to other technologies which are not so where there is not so high requirement for cleanness of these materials. Also, we have some technologies for treatment of polluted soil, polluted groundwater, polluted wastewater, and sewage sludge. They can be also applied at technological industrial sites and can eliminate the environmental problems at the sites. The steam sterilizer can be used to treat the medical hospital wastes. What we apply can treat about 1.4 cubic meter waste in an hour. The technology includes, it comes to a collector and then it's sieved, shredded, and then it's heated up at 4 bar pressure and 134 Celsius centigrade temperature to disinfect these materials, and it can be treated then as any normal municipal waste and free from any pathogenic microbes. We have also waste recycling systems, waste recycling technologies that can be applied at industrial units. The first, what we would like to show is the regeneration of contaminated organic solvents. These organic solvents comes generally from pharmaceutical industry or from other sources. They provide a mixture of these solvents or oil or watery washing effluent containing of these solvents, and in this form they cannot be reused. So we have a technology to distillate these valuable organic solvents materials from these waste effluents and reuse them in technology. The technology units are a heater container, a distillation column here on the right side, and cooler and separate collector and containers. In this way, we can separate ethyl acetate, methyl alcohol from industrial effluents, or toluene or tetrahydrofuran from different waste, organic waste mixtures. And the technology is automatic, fire safe, because these materials are flammable, explosive materials. Fire safe, it's very important, and of course provided with process control. In this last period, we could sell large amount of acetone cleaned in this way, and could sell to paint industry, and it was reused. It came from pharmaceutical industry. So it's going on, and a very good technology for reuse of these organic solvents. The other one, what we focus on, is the reuse of pyrolysis oil. Pyrolysis oil is generated in the waste management of used tires, waste processing of used tires, which has got a large volume in each country, and partly placed was plastic wastes. And this pyrolysis oil cannot be reused well, because it has got unsaturated hydrocarbon chains and contains high amount of sulfur, and that's why it's cannot be stored well for a long time. It easily can get thick and not well liquid after that. And in this way, if we hydrogenize them with our technology, it can be stabilized, and the smell can be reduced significantly, and in this way it can be reduced as normal hydrocarbon fractions. It's an ongoing research and technology development project started in the last years, and we're still working on, but we are on at the stage, if there is a requirement, we can set up a technology at an operating technology at different users if required. So the flowchart of the technology is, we've got a feeding container, and we add hydrogen. We've got a preheater, then the hydrogenizing reactor, which we apply specific catalytic material. Then we have a cooler, and we apply then a gas separator to separate hydrogen sulfuric, and the gas washer. And number 8 is to collect the product, the refined oil. So you can see here, this is the dirty version, the original pyrolysis oil, and these are the cleaned. These are here the cleaned fractions. So as I mentioned, we will have a stable, complete hydrocarbon fractions for a not so usable pyrolysis oil, and it can be reused in chemical, pharmaceutical, and paint industries. Also, some words about our cleaning systems for industry that can be used to treat wastewater and sewage sludge. We've got evaporator and wet air oxidation unit to treat wastewaters with high organic material content. That is often problem in food industry and in other fields. And what is more exciting technically is we've got a so-called thermal hydrolysis unit. It's a decomposition unit that's decomposite cyanide components from industrial effluents. Cyanide is very dangerous and comes out from different technologies, and its effluent can be treated very well in this way. And at last, it's not direct to production technologies, but if there is a production site or a contaminated site, we have large-scale technologies to clean the contaminated soil, mainly with hydrocarbons. One is the large capacity direct thermal desorption unit, and another is the soil washing unit. So this is briefly what we are working on. So if you have any idea or proposal to cooperate, please contact us and let us know. And thank you for your kind attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I see now we have at least our connection problem is resolved now. I think you have now again a quite clear image from our side here in Hanoi again. I'm very sorry. We are still trying to get 3B somehow online. So we have a little bit a connection issue with them. Also with our bandwidth, but in a moment I think it's working nicely again. I would like to ask you quickly something, our gentleman from Palota. If you look, or if we look, actually Bruno and I here were wondering, wow, you guys deal with a lot of hazardous substances. And let me say like that, whenever it comes to these technologies, it's cleanup of things people normally don't talk about or don't like to talk about. How did you experience up to now when you come into a foreign country, especially developing or emerging economies, where I'm quite sure you have a ton of these kind of problems? how do you approach people without being seen as the policeman or being the bad guys to pointing the finger on the problems? How do you do that?
Yeah, normally the regulation said what have we do with the contaminated soil, and the regulation said that maximum 1 year can storage these material, except the hospital waste. Of course, hospital waste only can storage some days, 2 days, if you cool one month. But the regulation said what have to do this material and how can we clean the limit the contamination which we have to do.
And another side of this is partly business, as I mentioned to you. So the production companies has different wastes that are useless. And if we regenerate the organic solvents, it can be reused. Not in pharmaceutical industry because it's got high quality standard, but can be reused then in paint industry or in other fields. This is also with the pyrolysis oil. It comes in large amount from decomposition of car tires, rubber, and this pyrolysis oil is useless. It's even hard to use for energy production because it's so unstable, this oil. We regenerate and make it stable, usable form. It's also a business. It can be used. They can pay for it. So not just the regulation and the normal expected. It's for industrial wastewaters is okay. If there is cyanide in the wastewater of a company, it's very dangerous. They can put it nowhere. This cyanide, we can clean it. Okay, we can. One side we can provide good solution to remove hazardous contaminants from the different materials, and we can regenerate and reuse them, recycling them as business.
Please, Bruno.
Just out the top of my head, there's a question, I guess, that is related to the times that we are all living at the moment, that is Corona epidemics. And I would like to ask gentlemen whether it has affected somehow your business, because I imagine that there must be more waste related to medical testing and pollution of water in the sites of the hospitals because of the large parts of population that are being tested. So has this somehow transferred into your capacities and presented any challenge, or how has this affected your business?
It's a member partner company, not partner, a member company of Palota, covers the hospitals of about 60% of Hungary, collecting the medical waste. So the main business is with us. But in the last years with COVID, the volume of dangerous medical waste is increased a lot, and we are just operating 4 of these sterilizers all around Hungary, and 4 units are under production and will be installed soon in this year because the volume is increasing so much. So, and it will be, it's a task for these years to treat the increasing volume of medical wastes. It's everywhere a problem.
It was interesting because of the first cycle of COVID, the hospital waste decreased half of the normal because there was no operation, there was everything stopped. Only we treated the COVID and the COVID patients, but there are very few. But now there are a lot of COVID patients, so the hospital waste double volume now. as the normal.
As last year or in normal
a normal situation. It's the volume is double, but the weight only 1.5. So it's very light because there are a lot of clothes,
materials, tissues,
gloves, and injection, and it's the weight is very low, but the volume is very high. So double as the normal situation now.
Okay, gentlemen, thank you very much. We will shortly have time to come back a little bit and also get Annamaria's positions on in particular this really toxic and hazardous substances. But now we are happy that we finally managed to get the connection with 3B company, with Mr. Zoltan Nagy and his colleagues. We can see them already, and we are looking forward now to see and hear from you your experiences as briefly already introduced before. So please feel free to share your screen, and we are looking forward to hearing from you.
Hello, good day all. Thank you very much for the opportunity to take part, and really sorry about this connection problem. Firstly, let us start a video which shows, introduce our companies present in waste industry. Share screen. Just a second. Do you see the screen? You see our screen?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So let's start.
Kérdeztek, hogy most a prezentáció alapján nekünk kell végigmenni, de azt mondták, hogy azt munkát a lássás, hogy csak kicsi problémák volt, és akkor most jó, akkor a prezentációnál meg emeljük ki ezt a három területet. kommunális hulladékot, biomassa erőműveknek a megtáplálását és elektronikai felvételről. Ezen 3 területen tudjuk felkínálni a technológiai szintik, mert elsősorban nem annyira hardware vagy fizikai dolgokat akarnak valószínűleg vásárolni, hanem a szám tudást akarni előjön. Bármi ezeknek elkezdődik, hogy egy kommunális hulladékkel dolgozóról szólt, pedig a legtöbb referenciánk az ilyen területeken. Másik erősségünk az a biohulladék feldolgozó a erőművek számára.
Akkor beszélhetünk, de először az videóról kell visszamenjünk a videóról? Az első is van. Most mind a kettőben.
De még a videó?
Nem, kapcsoltam. Do you see the other screen that we have shared about the presentation?
Yes,
so,
now we.
Yeah, gentlemen, some words about the video we have seen. This has shown a plant for processing communal waste, so municipal waste. Most of our references comes from this field. Most menjünk a prezentációra. So let's switch to presentation. You can see a következő dia. So the fields where we are present. So the third picture is for the municipal waste processing. You have seen the video, and the other 2 fields processing the electronic waste, so electronic waste treatment.
Construction demolition waste, CDW. Electronic waste is another
Electronic waste and for the biomass processing, for example, receiving units, biomass receiving units for biomass power plants.
For aluminum.
Okay.
Zoltan, excuse me whether I just interrupt quickly. Just try to speak a little bit louder so we can, or move closer to the microphone, that we can hear you just better. Okay, thank you.
We are doing so. Igazából a házon.
Igen, most mi volt a kérdés?
Az közelben. So recycling plants for V and refrigerators, we can supply complete plants for this technology for recycling electronic waste. Okay, következő. And as I mentioned, we can supply the complete material transport system for biomass and RDF. So we can supply the biomass RDF receiving unit and the material transportation system to the power plants. And the third field is treatment of municipal waste. We also can supply turnkey technology for these plants. Most of our references come from these fields. On the picture you can see on the picture you can see how can I say pilot plant, yes, pilot plant, which is near our town. It operates for 3 years. It has 20 tons per hour capacity. Okay. Baloldali békéscsaba, másik.
Igen, a jobb oldal ez pedig kereskedelmi és iparhulladékot dolgozó üzem.
On the picture on the left side, you can see the system of békéscsaba. This is for treatment of communal waste, and on the picture on the right side, you can see waste treating system for commercial and industrial waste. This is in Győr in Hungary. We can supply how can I say a complete service. We have a designer team, so we can do designing and documentation for each project, and also we do the manufacturing, all machine and parts produced by us, and we also can support you on the installation and commissioning process. Thank you for watching.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, for this overview, and finally also thank you that you finally made it back to our round today. I would like to ask you one question regarding really then the technology transfer. So how much you would see in your business depends on how to transfer the technology to the target country, how important it is to get local partners instead just of doing the investment or just selling the machinery. Are you also engaged in, I think, the important area of capacity building or skills or training of the staff in the target country? What are you experienced with in regards to that?
Let us translate internally, okay? Yeah, happy to answer.
Erre kérdezett rá, hogy hogyan is néz ki nálunk ez a, jól tettem, akkor ugye a technológiának az átadása, az
adás. Mit mondjunk, hogy gondoljuk ezt az egészet?
Igen, ez a tapasztalatok ezzel kapcsolatban.
Ez érdekes, hogy a technológiát illetve
Igen.
Ha a technológia átadásáról van szó, akkor tehát nem kell gyártanunk, hanem csak a tudást kell átadni egy dokumentációval. Hogy ezt hogy gondoljuk? Hát ennek a forgatókönyvét össze fogjuk állítani, hogy ez a kérdés például leírásban inkább export, tehát a termék exportjára.
Eddig még nem volt ilyen cégtörténetében, de szállítani
jó, mondjuk azt, hogy eddig többnyire a termék exportjára gondolkodtunk, a technológiai érdekes, akkor annak a forgatókönyvét legalább ezt nem fogjuk állítani.
So till today, with Zoltan in exporting products, the machines, but naturally we are open for transferring the technology. And if you are interested in this mainly, then naturally we can prepare the schedule of this.
Okay, thank you very much. I would like to move more or less the same question also to Annamaria. How important is the factor of skills development, of not only selling machinery or selling licenses, is then really how to embed the technology in the target country? What did you find about that?
Can you clarify your questions? You are asking me other countries?
Yes, yeah. When you research and during your work in technology transfer, how important was it also to set up skills development programs, capacity building, or vocational trainings, in addition to just the technology transfer?
It was and it is still important for Hungary, not only for other countries. In several fields, Hungary is not an advanced country. We need new, up-to-date technology. And of course, some fields Hungary is good enough and we don't need technology transfer. When when we have done the innovation review in Armenia or Tajikistan, I could observe many kinds of technology transfer are important. But the decision making on the technology transfer from the countryside is extremely important because, for example, Tajikistan that have electricity problem, they are using water power station, but the water power stations are frozen during the winter time, and they have shortage of electricity, and they got offer to import coal-based electricity power station to Tajikistan. And of course, it will solve somehow, but it will pollute the environment. And this is at the beginning of the 21st century, in my opinion, is not a good technology transfer. You have to develop something else. And I gave you a negative example, but I can give you some positive examples on the technology transfer. It depends on your industrial development. For example, Tajikistan, to re-establish the textile industry was very important because they have very good raw material. The cotton product is very important in Tajikistan, but during the Soviet period, the textile producing industries were in other republics, not in Tajikistan. Now the Tajikistan is an independent country without textile industry, and they cannot sell for good prices their raw material. To import the textile machines and transfer of textile machines are very important. Of course, it's not a cutting edge technology, but it's a mature technology, a good technology, and a lot of peasant people. First, you have to train for any kind of industry, and then you can move further.
Thank you very much. And I think also our dear speakers from Palota have similar experience that at least as important as transfer the technology is also to establish the necessary training and capacity building elements. Do you have any specific experience in that, or what is your level of importance for that? Are you doing it?
Sorry, the signal was not so good. Could you please repeat shortly the question?
Okay, we were talking now about the importance of capacity building alongside technology transfer and innovative products and machinery equipment. How important do you see the engagement of your company, for example, in skills development, in training and vocational training and education programs in the target country?
Okay.
Palota.
Yeah, I was asking Palota actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
now we have you. Yes.
We are here in Central Europe, and it was not a problem to Romania because a lot of Romanian people can speak Hungarian. So the education and the transfer of the technology, transfer of the instruments, it was no problem. It was very simple. It was very difficult when we want to transfer to Kavji, Kuwait and Saudi, mainly Saudi. It's a closed country. It was very difficult to get in. And we need a lot of permit. We cannot get in without Kuwait Arabian people. So and the transport of the machines, it was very, very, very difficult. So the local position is.
So just briefly, we need a good partner at the local country.
Yeah.
We need a good partner. We don't have time, money for education and so on. We need to find a good partner. And what in South Sudan, what we could use, for example, the guys there were getting university degree in Budapest at the technical university. They could even speak a little Hungarian. So we had historical connections with local experts. Knew each other, had some practical connections and so on. So I think the way is if at a technical university or agricultural university, biological university, somebody is educated in Hungary or here in Vienna or somewhere in close areas, we can get into connection. And after these people getting home to Far East countries or Southeast Asia, we can develop easy connection with them and work together. So if there is somebody like this got home, we can easily build up connection. So I think this is the way.
Yeah, that's a great idea, and I think there are some very good examples. This also highlights something I would like now to ask Bruno here. How important this finally is to look what is available in the country already, how to partner with the existing knowledge. So, and I think you have quite some experience and some thoughts on that as we talked before already. Yeah.
Absolutely, and this is an excellent question or point, because no investor would go to a country where they'll find only a green field, so to speak. The greenfield investment is always more expensive than investment to a country or environment where you can find the receiving part of the technology transfer. And this was the case of Slovakia when attracting all the car producers that we have. And at the moment, it's 4 major world multinationals that produce cars. And I was involved with the last one, which was back in 2015 and 16. And needless to say, if we hadn't had the infrastructure, and I do not mean just the road infrastructure, because in the end of the day, the road infrastructure is the least one which is considered, but the brain infrastructure. So the people who had the skills, who had the knowledge, and the ability to communicate in your own language is just one of the bonuses, so to speak. But if you don't have anyone to transfer the technology to, you would probably not even consider that country or that environment to start with. So it is extremely important. I would say it's crucial, honestly, what you have asked. It's the knowledge, it's the readiness of the labor, of the environment, of the government to receive the technology transfer. And without this precondition, it would just get too lengthy, it would get too expensive, and it might as well finish in a total failure. So this is absolutely crucial from my point of view.
Annamaria, also that's what Bruno now mentioned here, the recognizing what is available on the ground and building upon that. How often do you think, or in the past, I can imagine if I look back probably in times of '89, a lot of opportunities were missed because there was not paid enough attention to things which were already on the ground. And did you find some examples of good examples how interacting with locals, with local knowledge, and recognizing and respecting local culture finally led to a more sustainable success and impact on technology transfer?
When the first foreign companies penetrated in Hungary through the privatization, and as I mentioned, I posted several managers into Hungary. And at the beginning, the idea was they find somewhere Hungarian-speaking managers. And so they were not the best managers, I must tell you. They were born in Hungary, they knew the language, but they had no experiences in that field that they have to introduce into Hungary. And very soon, the companies recognize it is not important to recruit Hungarian-born people for manager positions, because many Hungarians can speak languages, or there are some good interpreters, and they can manage the companies. This is one thing. The other thing, the education system. Vietnam, in my view, it's a good position because it has good accumulated culture. Sorry. And the people are hardworking. It is always much easier to work hardworking people and transfer technology in a country where you can find a lot of hardworking person than other countries. And training is important. And if you can involve the universities or the vocational schools in the training activities, it is good. If you cannot find the proper vocational schools, you have to establish your own training activities, because any cases you have to train the locals. In other cases, the value of technology transfer will be diminished. If you don't have well-trained people to use the machines and software or other kind of imported knowledge and technology, you will waste. And of course, the countries has to support their own education system. It is I mentioned the innovation system, but I didn't have time to speak about it. One of the most important things, the education system, not only higher education, from primary school to the end of higher education is important, and vocational schools has important role in this process. Microphone.
Okay, I thank you very much for this very frank answer, and this is also what I discussed with Bruno recently, also, and with other colleagues quite often here, is that this underlying system of vocational trainings is so important. It is not that we do not need only masters and bachelors, we need also people who can operate machines, who know how to maintain, and just being masters of craftsmanship. So, and I hope that technology transfer is in future also looking at that side, because these are the job creators per se. And it requires also the policies in place, as you, Annamaria, mentioned, and also Bruno. Where do you see are the big obstacles and the bottlenecks in the policy for education? We see this in a lot of countries that there are a lot of university programs, but when it comes to vocational skills development and real vocational education, a lot of countries fall short. Why do you think is this?
I guess it's basically because of lacking the training during the education. There used to be a system of so-called dual education existing in our countries in Central Europe, which was basically adopted from 19th century Germany, and as far as I know, it's been working ever since, where apart for the theoretical knowledge, the students, be it at the vocational schools or even at universities, had to, so to speak, touch and feel what they were educated in. So it is not enough just to acquire the theory and memorize the facts, but you need to be also skilled in the practical point of view. And I believe that this is something where most of the education systems until today are failing. And when you, on the contrary, look at the countries that have very efficient education and also that are very strong in innovation, being the Scandinavian countries, Ireland, and so on, that is thanks to the combination of the practical training and theoretical training during their studies. And it doesn't have to be necessarily just the high school system, but the system that leads to universities, and in fact not only technical schools, because I mean, if you have a doctor who has never had the chance to touch a body or see a patient, I don't think that you would ever trust him or her. So that would be my idea of the failure.
Okay, thank you very much, Bruno, for also this confirmation. So it becomes actually quite clear that technology alone doesn't help, as long as we cannot have the respectful requirements, the respectful environment for uptaking this technology in a different culture, the policy in place for education, the policy in place, and also the means in place, because then it's how to finance that. Just again, I would like to ask our colleagues and friends from Palota, do you have then sometimes, or did you experience partners? You worked with UNIDO quite some time ago, I saw. Otherwise, how to finally find the funds for this education element?
So we, as we mentioned, we don't make education activity particularly. We apply for experts that have educated at universities here in this region, in Eastern Europe or Central Europe. And we can cooperate with them easier in those countries we are targeted, or we can find good local partners. But basically, the company is ready to receive trainees, technical trainees from technical universities, chemical type universities, something like that. We have some connections with some universities in this way, but actually we don't put direct money at the moment with this. What we see is important, so, but the available EU fundings and other sources for cooperation, discussions, and so on, that might be a good solution. And in Hungary, we have an export cluster for environmental companies, export, perhaps you heard about it.
Mm-hmm.
And it collects approximately 30 larger Hungarian environmental enterprises like Palota, and they try to make common efforts to open far markets and to make connections and go to meetings, conferences, B2Bs, and in this way they can help us a lot. So as busy engineers, we don't have to run from one side to another for selling and making business. This cluster helps us a lot, and it's got possibility to make education connections, trainings, and so on. So that's a good point, I think, for this.
Okay. Thank you very much. And unfortunately, we are soon coming to an end of our session today. And I would just like to, before we close, you mentioned now that it needs partnerships. It needs also partnerships like with your government, for example, partnerships with institutions to overcome and to work on fields which are not directly your or your colleagues' business, like the education, like the vocational training, like the exchange of research and universities, what Annamaria mentioned. So, and therefore, definitely programs like we are joining in the moment here from the European Union are contributing. And that's why, before we are closing our today's online session, I would like to draw your attention to the plenary conference event tomorrow, March 23rd, a big online event which will build on today's four hands-on sessions, and will provide you complementary opportunities in the morning and in the afternoon 2-hour plenary session to learn more, to get more connections. So please join tomorrow and meet the leading policy representatives of the European Commission, also representatives from Vietnam, from Binh Duong province and ASEAN neighbors, to learn about their strategies for green growth, hear more about the good practices and examples of successful green innovators and state-of-the-art green technologies. So finally get inspired somehow on the discourse on the new European strategy, the Green Deal. The Green Deal, and also to look into opportunities to innovate beyond ASEAN borders in these new technologies and corporations. To build a sustainable community of inspired green innovators, this event tomorrow and today will also be the starting point for subsequent webinars, which will address the topics identified today and tomorrow in more depth, provide you even a new platform, an additional platform to meeting future cooperation partners to address your specific innovation challenges. If you are from a Central and Eastern European country, or if you are a Vietnamese entrepreneur who is looking for sustainable partnerships in Central and Eastern European countries, please feel free also to contact our CSCC in Vietnam. You see the webpage slide here now, www in ceccvn.org. So finally, it just remains to me to thank all of our guests, all our distinguished speakers, and all our supporting staff in Vietnam, but also in Europe, for an inspiring nearly 2 hours of dialogue. Thank you very much, Sinkamon. Also, thank you, Bruno. And I hope to seeing you tomorrow at the plenary session and having the opportunity for more cooperation under the CECC, under the EU programs, or just as a business-to-business connection here in Vietnam and the region. Thank you very much. See you soon and have a nice evening in Europe. and stay safe and healthy.
Good day to
Thank you.
Europe. Good day
Thank
to
you.
Europe. Good evening to Vietnam. Thank you.
Good evening.